This is 2, the drummer from the band Sleep Token. Over the past year, he's become one of the most famous drummers without ever revealing his secret identity. And after doing some hardcore investigating of his insane drumming, I've learned 8 of his secrets that I can't unsee. Luckily for us, there are lessons within each one of these secrets that I believe can help any drummer become dramatically better. 2 has mastered something that I call the Deadpool Effect, and I'll explain why it's called that in a second, but it's what he taps into that allows his drumming to be so freaking creative. Personally, I think this is one of the biggest reasons that so many of us are drawn to his drumming, because it allows him to come up with really creative drum parts like this. Just like Deadpool is combining the X-Men and the MCU together, 2 is combining multiple genres together in his drumming. He'll go from playing metal parts to gospel chops with a little bit of drum and bass. And it really helps his drumming stand out. Here's what he has to say about it.
I've always personally taken a lot of inspiration from the UK dance music scene. Listening to the various subgenres of drum and bass specifically allowed me to incorporate stylistic traits from those genres into my vocabulary as a drummer.
2 shows us that the secret to being more creative on the kit is to be more of yourself. I'm sure all of us listen to multiple genres of music, and if you can combine those things and put it through your own unique filter, you're going to cultivate your own style that separates you from other drummers. Now, I'm gonna organize all of these secrets based on which drummer I think they would be most beneficial to. Because as drummers, it's very easy to get overwhelmed by trying to learn everything. So instead, I just want you to focus on what's most relevant to you and your skill level right now. So the Deadpool Effect, I think, is the most beneficial to intermediate drummers. Because for beginners, you should establish the basics before moving more into your own style. But during the intermediate phase is the perfect time to find your own voice on the kit. 2 has mastered 3 really easy techniques that he uses all the time that makes all of his grooves instantly sound more creative. Now, most drummers in a groove just stick to kick, snare, and hi-hat, but 2 will explore different surfaces. So he will keep the same beat on the kick and the snare, but instead of only playing it on the hi-hat, he will move this part to different interesting parts of the drum set, like the rims, splashes, and a little bit of the hi-hat, and immediately his beats sound way cooler. Second cymbal hack is rudiment textures. So again, instead of just keeping time on the hi-hat, he'll add little rudiments on the hi-hat or between the ride and the hi-hat. And it's such a simple technique that anyone can implement instantly to get some more creativity just within the middle of your groove. His third cymbal hack you may be familiar with, and that is called linear drumming. This simply means when no 2 limbs are playing at the same time. So when you take a simple beat that's played on the kick, snare, and hat, and you break apart the notes so that nothing's hitting at the same time, it's a really easy way for things to sound more unique. The reason that I love these techniques so much is that it forces you to ask the question, how can I make this beat better? Once you go through the process of making it better, you ask yourself again, now how can I make this beat better? Constant improvement and self-reflection allows you to operate at the highest level as a drummer, but also as a person. I think cymbal hacking is a huge creativity boost specifically for intermediate drummers. Let's talk about 2's ultimate weapon. Now, this is a topic that way too many drummers ignore as an essential foundational part of their drumming. But 2 has taken this lost weapon and sharpened it further than most drummers thought possible. And it forces his playing to sound better in every context. I'm talking about his insanely unique snare sound, and it adds to his overall style even more. This shows Two's dedication to overall creativity, because not only have we already discovered his unique playing style, but he also has a unique sound. And when you stack these things on top of each other, you just get ultimate creativity, ultimate style, and ultimate uniqueness. Two's snare sound is a perfect example of how important it is to put in the work on the front end and get long-term rewards on the back end. My guess is that he has spent hours upon hours fine-tuning the perfect snare sound. If you have the patience to focus on something day after day, week after week, that will continue to carry over in your drumming and in your sound for years to come. Now, I think this secret benefits all drummers, because all drummers will sound better with better sounding drums. And this doesn't always mean that you need the most expensive drums. You can make really cheap drums sound great. One thing that has caused exponential growth for Two is the fact that he understands that he doesn't matter.
They're just like not important, like they don't matter.
This is what Sleep Token has to say about it.
The true identities behind Sleep Token are immaterial and ultimately irrelevant. It matters not who they are, it matters not what they say.
Growing up playing in bands, I had one focus, and that was, how can I make myself look like the best and coolest drummer out there? But this was flawed thinking, and instead, it did the opposite. It made me look like a worse drummer. I had many rehearsals where I would try to play the most complex thing possible, and it would end with the band saying, "What are you doing? You are making the song sound bad." It wasn't until I shifted my thinking and realized that being a good drummer is not about me. It's about elevating everyone else in the band and making them sound as good as possible. And once I realized that, I started getting a lot more calls from bands. Two has taken this to the highest extreme by completely
concealing his identity,
and it's really, really worked out for him. And that's why I think this secret benefits all drummers. Two has a secret technique that allows him to play insane chops that sound way cooler and way more creative than most other drummers. Being able to chop around the kit is something I've noticed a lot of drummers struggle with, but Two has implemented a technique that allows him to play chops like this. And if you want to learn this exact fill and get a ton of full transcriptions to Sleep Token songs, well, they're all available on DBO Academy. There you can easily learn hundreds of your favorite songs and get put on a personalized drumming path that will level up your drumming in just the first 7 days. And as a thank you for watching this video, I'm giving you a free 14-day free trial by clicking right here. The mistake that a lot of drummers make is they learn very specific fills that they can't apply in multiple ways around the kit. But Two's secret is that he creates chop starters that give him a bass pattern to play, but leave just the end of the fill open to interpretation, so he's never repeating the same fills over and over again. Here's what he has to say about it.
I'm a big fan of the standard paradiddle. I use this as a chop starter, often as I feel it's an organic way to prepare the listener for a slightly busier section and finish the sticking the phrasing in any way you see fit.
I think learning chop starter patterns is the most beneficial to those who are early on in the advanced stage. It's going to give those drummers an extra creativity boost to chop easier around the kit. Two has a dangerous ability that can only be trusted with drummers who use it wisely. In a similar way to how he often doesn't just keep regular time with the cymbals, sometimes he will warp time altogether. Oftentimes, Two will add in certain implied polyrhythms into his drumming, or even implied modulation. Now, this can be a really hard and confusing skill to cultivate, but it doesn't always have to be. Because oftentimes, if you go into a gig trying to play polyrhythms and metric modulation, you'll probably get fired. But you can take it in its simplest form, and it can help you unlock certain creative freedoms in your drumming to unlock cool things like groove fills. And if you're bored of all your regular fills and want a creative way to kind of play with this polyrhythmic timing, what you can do is hit a cymbal on every third note. And if you just do this for one measure and then go back to the standard groove, this allows you to get that same kind of implied polyrhythmic feel that 2 cultivates, but without going all the way to the extreme. I think the time warping secret benefits advanced drummers the most. Use it wisely. Uses something that I call the David and Goliath effect to maximize his drumming dynamics. Now, most metal drummers have one dynamic gear, and that is to hit hard and loud. This can sometimes serve you well in the right gig, but in other contexts, you can start to look like this. But what makes Tu such a versatile drummer is that he has the dynamic control to know when to play at quiet volumes with a bunch of finesse, or when to really lay into the drums with a lot of power. If you can only play at one dynamic, your drumming is going to lose a lot of impact. Because a song takes a listener on a journey, but it's up to us drummers to make each section of that journey as impactful as humanly possible. That's why I think this secret is most beneficial to all drummers. Tu utilizes a secret called accent stacking. I'll let him explain more.
Try to pay close attention to the vocals and figure out any specific syllables that can benefit from accents on the kit.
Now, a lot of drummers really struggle to create drum parts, but utilizing accent stacking really gives you a base to play off of. If you're paying attention to what the other instruments are doing and you just simply match that, well, all of a sudden you have a beat that goes with the song. And from there, you could either just leave it with that beat or continue to build the beat creatively. This shows you again that Tu's mindset is focused on making the whole band sound better and not making the focus himself. Because as drummers, we're given this really unique gift of selflessness. The better we can make everyone in the band around us sound, the better drummer you become. So I think accent stacking benefits beginner drummers the most because it gives them a starting place of how to create a beat. What a lot of drummers forget is that it doesn't always matter how technically good you are at the drums, because if your mindset is off, it can really ruin everything. Having the right mindset is what I think has allowed drummers like El Estepario to become one of the best drummers in the whole world. And that's why you should watch this video to unlock some of Estepario's mindset secrets.